It's time to open up the box. The left-handed and right-handed paths, both white magic and black magic, and how it's going to lead into the Republican versus Democrat dichotomy, right? But anyways, this is going to be a shorter video today, just letting you guys know. But let's get started. Left-handed path and right-handed path. In Western esotericism, the left-handed path and right-handed path are a dichotomy between two opposing approaches to magic. This terminology is used in various groups involved in the occult and ceremonial magic. In some definitions, the left-handed path is equated with malicious black magic or black shamanism, while the right-hand path with benevolent white magic. Other occultists have criticized the definition, believing that the left-hand or left-right dichotomy refers merely to different kinds of working and does not necessarily and cannot or connote good or bad magical actions, which means they're the same thing, right? Just different ways is what they're saying here. And I'm going to say the right-handed path is more dangerous than the left-handed path. The left-handed path, the black magic part, right? They show you who they are, right? They are who they are. It's do as thou wilt. The white magic, on the other hand, is a little bit more subtle, right? They come at you with their light, their good works and stuff like that, right? And these white magic witches and all that, right? They do good work, right? This is why our works don't get us into heaven, right? Because I could be the most evilest person in the world. I could be a Aleister Crowley-ite or whatever, and donate to St. Jude's Hospital, right? Doesn't make me a good person. Just makes me, oh, well, he's spending a little bit of his money to put into a charity that's only going to give 5% of the money that it makes to the children anyways. Anyways, I digress. In more recent definitions, which base themselves in terms origins in Indian Tantra, the right-hand path, or Dakshinakara, is seen as I can't believe I actually got that right. Sorry. Is seen as a definition, or hopefully got it right. Okay, is seen as a definition for those magical groups that follow specific ethical codes and adopt social convention. While the see, that's one way to differentiate the two paths, right? The the right or the white white magic part, the right-handed path is more rule based. You can't go beyond this point, right? While black magic is more of who cares? You're gonna get that power no matter what. No matter how many people you gotta step over, you're gonna get it, right? As the right is a little bit more subtle. They come at you with like rules and regulations. You can't do this magic, don't go into that magic, no blood magic, stuff like that, right? Doesn't mean it's not good. They still using the magic and where the magic comes from. The stoichion, right? The elemental spirits, the elemental gods, right? What Paul talks about, the elementary spirits or the elementary um, stuff, whatever he's talking about, the gods there, the stoichion, because that's what the word there in Greek is used, is stoichion. It can mean elemental, regular elementary principles. But here he literally talks about the gods right before he talks about the elementary stuff, and I can't believe people just totally throw his words out. Like he just says, though they are not gods, right? But yeah, I digress. But anyways, you guys get what I'm saying, right? So now we have the incantations, right? The spells, charms, enchantments, bewitchery, and I will say bewitchery is a form of mind control or brainwashing. But anyways, an incantation, a spell, a charm, an enchantment, or bewitchery is a magical formula intended to trigger magical effect on a person or objects. The formula can be spoken, sung, or chanted. See, they makes you wonder where they get this from, right? Because Christians have worship music. God has worship music in His throne and all this stuff. Makes you think. An incantation can also be performed during ceremonial rituals or prayers. In the world of magic, wizards, witches, and fairies. Now, this fairy is what you would call like the fae people. And by the way, elves are in that category or in the fairy category, right? And you're going to see a lot of some elves have wings, right? The way elves are depicted in a lot of our movies, I would say maybe some of it's right, you know, the pointy ears, stuff like that. But a lot of them have wings. They're dark skinned. They're not good people, especially when you start reading. They weren't. Yeah. Anyways, in medieval literature, folklore, fairy tales, and modern fantasy fiction, enchantments are charms or spells. This has led to the terms enchanter and enchantress, or those who use enchantments. The English language borrowed the term incantation from Old French in the late 14th century. The corresponding Old English term was Galdor or Galdor, song spell cognate to on Galdor. See, they have the same kind of concepts, guys, but what's sad is they're more dedicated than we are, than Christians, right? They have Christians falling asleep. But then again, that's a lot of the church, because the church is a joke nowadays. But, anyways, surviving written records of historical magic spells were largely obliterated in many cultures by the success of major monotheistic religions Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. That's God right there, man. That's God. I know Islam, Judaism, they don't worship the same God we do. I know people like to think Judaism, right? But when you start putting the Talmud, the Zohar, the Mishnah, and all that before the Word of God, that's where I have a problem. You're not worshiping the same God I am. Plus, Judaism denies Jesus Christ, right? And I'm sorry, you have to accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, right? To make it to the Father. So, why do Christians throw that to the wayside today? You know, in Islam, we all know that, who they are. Now, not all of them are, bloodthirsty, whatever. A lot of them are just trying to live their lives, right? And a lot of Islam, they get a lot of hate for no reason, right? And I will say Islam believes more in Jesus than Christians do, right? But anyways, you got to accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Doesn't matter if you're Islam, Judaism, Christian, doesn't matter. Hindu, you got to accept Jesus. Anyways, you guys get the point there. So, here's God creating his stuff with words or creating the world with his word, right? Genesis 1 to 3, I guess it goes all the way to 2, 3. But, anyways, and God said, let there be light. And there was light. So, by his very commandment, this is how much power God has. By his very words, all the molecules do what he says instantly. Like, Okay, let's get going, right? Now, if only we were like that. And God saw the light that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And God said, there you go, ready? And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament, and the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. Hmm. Seems like, again, he uses his words to create. He's got that much power, that much. This is why he is king, right? He has that much sway that even the molecules themselves follow in suit, right? And the gathering together of the waters called the sea, or he seas. And God saw it was good. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was itself after his kind. And God saw it was good. And the evening and the morning were the third day. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night. Now, I want to point something out here. Let, so here he's God saying, God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. Wait a minute. Let's go down here. Well, what's this? And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. These are the stars. These is the sun. This is the moon. This is, well, the stars, and then the sun and moon come a little bit later, right? And I don't know if you guys notice, all this stuff is being made before the sun, so that's quite interesting there. See, in science, we're told, or in the world, we're told that the sun came before the earth. Here, the Bible's saying the earth came before the sun. Which one's telling the truth? Which one keeps lying to you? Right? Just keep that in mind. Yeah, God made the beast. Blah, 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 blah. But you guys get the gist here. Okay. But oh, here I want to put this out there for the Sabbath, right? Thus the heavens and the earth were finished. Or I'm sorry, Genesis chapter 2. Thus saith the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day, God ended his work. Does it say anywhere you can't do this? You got to sit on the couch all day. You got to do that. You can't do this, can't do that. Can't have plastic cups. Can't have paper plates. You know what I mean? Where does it say any of that? All it says is, and on the seventh day, God ended his work. See how simple everything is? How simple the Sabbath is? How simple Jesus Christ is? Anyways, and God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it. He set it apart. The seventh day. People will say, well, every day is the rest day. Every day is the rest, rest in Jesus, right? But that's not the point of the day. The point of the day is for you to have a physical rest from your work that you were doing. Yes, worship and rest in Jesus every day, right? But this is not what it's talking about. It's saying what you do for work, take a day off on this specific day. It says here, Ready? And God blessed the seventh day. He didn't say, I bless all the days of the seventh day that you do on the seventh day, right? He says, and God blessed the seventh day, right? Which in all cultures, in all of them, the Sabbaton in Greek, the Sabbato, the Sabu, whatever, Sabu, something like that in India. I mean, it's all in the cultures, man. It's always been Saturday, always. But and by the way, from sun up, from the dawn, in my opinion, this is this is why people go so far to the left and to the right. Why would God? This is just my thinking. Why would God start the Sabbath day in nighttime where everybody needs sleep? Right? It's from sun up to sun down on Saturday. My opinion. This is when everybody's awake. I mean, you're not gonna. I mean, everybody needs rest at night, but you need rest physically too, right? A day of just so your CNS can recuperate, right? This is scientific as well. This is why we have days off, right? You can't just keep going and going and going. But anyways, I just wanted to get into that. So we're going to get into brainwashing here. This is what both the right wing and the left wing are doing to us, guys. Both sides. Okay. Brainwashing, also called coercive persuasion, systemic effort to persuade non-believers to accept a certain allegiance, command, or doctrine. A colloquial term, it is more generally applied to any technique designed to manipulate human thought or action against the desire, will, or knowledge of the individual. See why he keeps saying, like, when you join a group, you're going to be forced to vote to do something you don't agree with, right? By controlling the physical and social environment, an attempt is made to destroy loyalties to any unfavorable groups or individuals to demonstrate the individual that his attitudes and patterns of thinking are incorrect and must be changed. Re-education camps, and to develop loyalty and unquestioned obedience to the ruling party. I wonder where we've seen that. The term is most appropriately used in reference to a program of political or religious indoctrination or ideological remolding. Cults. And we have a big cult running around called the SJWs. Granted, there's also been Christian cults too, don't get me wrong. But anyways, the techniques of brainwashing typically involve isolation from former associates and sources of information, an exacting regimen requiring absolute obedience and humility, strong social pressures and rewards for cooperation, physical and psychological punishments for non-cooperation ranging from social ostracism and criticism, deprivation of food, sleep, social context, the bondage, torture, or contentional reinforcement, or getting you canceled. That'll do it. But now we got the Republicans and the Democrats, right? The donkeys and the elephants. Good terms to be used for them. But really, what it's all about is Scottish Rite, Freemasonry, the ancient and accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, the Northern Masonic jurisdiction in the United States, often omits, and while the English Constitution in the United Kingdom omits the Scottish, commonly known as simply the Scottish Rite, or in England and Australia as Royce or Rose Croix. Now, Masonry has these different rites, right? Scottish Rite is one of them, and you keep progressing, right? But it's a philosophy too, right? The Scottish Rite. Anyway, Although this is only one of its degrees. The Roy's Croix, okay, although is what it's called, sorry, is one of the several rights of Freemasonry. A right is a progressive series of degrees conferred by various Masonic organizations or bodies, each of which operate under control of its own central authority. Get out of there. In Scottish Rite, the central authority is called a Supreme Council. The Scottish Rite is one of the appendant bodies of Freemasonry that a Master Mason may join for further exposure to principles of Freemasonry. So, there's that. And then on the left, so this is what you would say your white magic, your right-handed path masonry, right? And then this is kind of hard to find information. It's like tidbits, but it's called Orient or Orion Freemasonry. But it's Orion, don't matter. But is the teaching and practice of the secret fraternal order of free and accepted Masons. So you'll see free and accepted Masons, right? With the Orion Freemasonry. This is more of you. They take more of the analogies of Orion, stuff like that, right? Both of them go back to like Egypt and stuff like that, right? But your Orion Freemasonry is more of the kin to Orion, like, and I believe some of them think Osiris is Orion, which could be. I haven't really studied that much into it. So, but anyways, we're going to end it with this. Do as thou wilt. And this is a very good explanation of Aleister Crowley. You ready? Aleister Crowley was a blustery coward, an arrogant, misogynistic racist with fascist leanings. And now, guys, I know the SJWs ruined this. This was back in 2000, so he's not an SJW or whoever this guy is, right? Because they ruin. They call everybody they don't agree with. This is what Marxists do, right? But this is truly him. This is the way he thought, and it's sad that people, rockers, and entertainment industry love this guy. I don't see why, but they do. But Aleister Crowley was a blustery coward, an arrogant, misogynistic, racist with fascist leanings, and a callous user, means of heroin, as often threatened by his sexuality as he claimed to be liberated by it. Yep, that is so true with this guy, man, with all these guys. They never seem to be or appear to be they never appear to be who they really are. Or I'm not even saying that right. I'm not even going to try. But anyways, we're going to leave off with this. KJV. Proverbs 4:27. Turn not to the right hand nor to the left. Remove thy foot from evil. You see that? Don't go to the right hand or to the left. Not white magic, not black magic, not Republican, not Democrat. Just remove your foot from evil. Get out of it. And we're going to leave it at that. Actually, you know what? I take that back. Leave the Republican and Democrat Party and search for Jesus Christ, the King, the guy who will drain the swamp, right? Ain't no way Donald Trump is going to do it because how can he do it when you're probably part of the swamp too, right? So trust in Jesus. If you if you don't believe in him, to say this, Lord or God, if you exist, reveal yourself to me and show me the truth. and he will. And when he does, confess it with your mouth, right? Confess him with your mouth. There isn't some magical prayer and that you're automatically in. No, you got to believe in Jesus, right? It doesn't say a prayer. It says believe, right? But anyways, hope you guys were edified. You guys have a wonderful day.